This one is huge. The biggest public schools in New Jersey. There's only 2 left standing, and one of them is the Shore Conference's own Toms River North, undefeated. First Shore Conference team to ever be 13-0. State record for the most points in a season already, with still one more game to play. They're going to face off against Passaic Tech, which is 11-2. Tough program. And I love this matchup because it's the unstoppable force against the immovable object. The unstoppable offense of Toms River North against a defense that has been one of the stingiest in the state, has only allowed 79 points the whole season, 6.1 points a game against a team that averages more than 40 points a game and has basically lit up everybody they played this year. I mean, this is to me is what you hope for in a state championship matchup.
They haven't given up more than 2 touchdowns in a game. And Toms River North scores 2 touchdowns within the first 5 minutes of every game. So something's got to give. Something's got to give. So I know North has got a lot of respect for Passaic County Tech, and I'm sure Passaic County Tech is doing it the same way too. But this is a real fun matchup to see the high-power offense versus a real stingy defense this Sunday.
And both teams are going to be running the ball a lot. You know, Passaic Tech only attempted 3 passes in their semifinal win, 21-7 over West Orange. Part of that was because it was a crazy wind that day, so the teams weren't throwing as much. But still, their junior running back, Treshawn Dye, 209 yards rushing in that game. They were actually losing 7-6 at halftime, came back and won 21-7. Their 2 big players are twin brothers, Treshawn Dye and Trayvon Dye. They're kind of the engine of that team. They've been the stars all year for them. Treshawn just had the huge game in the semifinals. He's got an offer from Syracuse. They've got, those 2 are the big spotlight is going to be on them. Their quarterback, Markeo Taylor, actually didn't even start. He wasn't the starter until the playoffs began. So he's done a real nice job sliding into that starting spot. But yes, those 2 twins are going to be guys running the ball a ton. On defense, they're leaders on the defense. Jordan Alston is another one to watch, has 108 tackles for that defense. But yeah, they have one other threat offensively. That's Kashmir Jones, who's kind of a rushing and receiving threat. So you have the 2 twins and him. Those are the guys you're going to have to, that Toms River North is going to have to try to slow down a little bit. But the Dye brothers, they lead that offense, and it's going to be their speed at linebacker against the Toms River North front and the speed of Micah Ford and Josh Moore and all those guys.
Very interesting matchup. And we've been very fortunate to see some domination with the O-line. And don't forget, their defense isn't that bad either, Toms River North. They've been setting up the offense with some pretty good field position. They've been playing great defense in the playoffs. But, yeah, Micah Ford, I think he needs 140 more yards. He'll be the leading rusher in the state of New Jersey. He's got just under 2,300 yards and one of the most dynamic football players out there. And he's back next year too. But enough about next year. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting. If North can't, and you said this before, if North has to pass the football, they haven't done that. They've never been forced to do something they didn't want to do all year. If this team can stop the run, I'm curious what Coach Oz and the offense has in their bag of tricks.
Yeah, it's one of those theoretical things because no one's actually been able to stop the run the whole year. But clearly, Passaic Tech has great speed at linebacker. It's not going to be Micah Ford is one of the most explosive players in the state. But this is not a team that's easy to run away from where, like, if you miss one tackle, a guy can't run you down from behind. They have that kind of speed. I think it's going to be huge for Toms River North's line to get to the second level and try to get a body on the Dye brothers and on those linebackers to spring some bigger plays. They have shown, though, if they have to grind it out and get 4 yards at a time, they can do that. But you're right. If it's a game where Micah Ford has 20-plus pass attempts, most likely that's not a good thing for Toms River North.
No, that's not their style of play at all. But, yeah, I'm real curious about, again, now from Passaic Tech puts up 3 touchdowns, is that going to be a good – what do you think the most points they need to feel comfortable to be the game.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think the thought of holding Tom's River North under 20 points would be like an all-time great defensive performance. And that's why I love these group finals, because you're like, these teams have both played totally different schedules. We don't really know. It's hard to just completely, look at common opponents or anything like you can do when Central plays South Jersey. There's none of that here. So, I think that, they're going to, I would think Passaic Tech is going to have to get at least 20 points to have a shot in this game. I mean, to ask them to hold that North offense under 20. And the other thing is Passaic Tech has struggled to score. They're at times against tough opponents. I mean, they've blown out some lesser teams this year, but the other thing about them is they're pretty one-dimensional. They're just going to line up. They got multiple guys who can run the ball and hurt you. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to focus on maybe just one person, but you don't really have to worry a huge amount about getting burned by them in the pass game. Their quarterback, he probably throws for like 100 yards a game, if that. So, what you want to do with them, certainly. The thing Passaic Tech is going to want to do the most is control the clock, right? They want to get the ball and sit on it for like 7 minutes and slowly go down the field.
The best defense.
Because the more possessions Toms River North has, the more chances that you miss a tackle, that Council gets open, that Pruitt gets open, that Moore breaks one, and you're going to give up points. So you want to limit their total amount of possessions. And conversely, if you're North and you come out like you've been doing and you just blitz them from the outset and it's 21-0 in the blink of an eye, they might be done. That's like they might not have the offense to come back from that. So I think getting a big start and a fast start up at Rutgers on Sunday is going to be key for Toms River North.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, an early lead with this, but this is such a great buildup because for years, my North Jersey friends would kind of rib me a little bit. You don't play good football in South, and we would say the same thing there. It's different kind of football, and they would talk about what kind of athletes go to colleges from North Jersey. We don't hear it from here, or vice versa. So there's a lot of bragging rights from a lot of communities too. Friends too doing the same thing. This is a North Jersey versus a South Jersey playing for the right to win a Group 5 championship.
Well, and the other thing I like is I've always thought for years, the coaching in the shore conference is the best in the state. That like when we're undermanned athletically, a lot of times our coaches have out-schemed and outsmarted coaches who have more talent. So it's like, that's why I also like matching wits of like, who's the better coaching staff in these teams, this kind of matchup. In other words, is their D coordinators trying to scheme how to stop the best offense in New Jersey, or this side of Bergen Catholic. And then, Toms River North is trying to figure out how to solve a defense that no team on their schedule has solved all year. So I like that kind of chess match going on. I think the one other thing is we've talked about it at times this year, right? That Toms River North has gotten sloppy with penalties and kind of like shot themselves in the foot here and there. This is a game where I think you really got to cut all that out. I don't know if you have that margin for error where like you have a drive killed because of a holding penalty, or you get a personal foul and you allow them to get inside the red zone. Like I think you really need to play a pretty clean game here to make sure that it's not all of a sudden tie game in the fourth quarter because you've been kind of hurting yourself more than they've been stopping.
I think with RBC losing, I think that Toms River North has their eyes going, wait, we really can prove something right now that we are not only the best team in the shore, but also in this state too. That's what they believe. Such a big buildup. There's a lot of, inner type of goals in their heads that probably, these 15, 18-year-old kids have. But to get to this level, you're on a roll. You've won 3 playoff games, the championship, and then you won your bowl championship, the regional one, to get here, to say the least. So these teams are both good football teams. They're both sectional champions, and they won their regional championship. This is what everybody wants to see on all the groups, not just this game right here.
And not only that, you look at the rankings all year, right? For Toms River North, this is your chance to say we are the #1 public school in New Jersey, period.
Yeah.
Bergen Catholic blowing Don Bosco's doors off in the finals was pretty impressive. They made their case to be #1 in the whole state in that one. But this is Toms River North saying, and not only that, it's immortality. when you look back in 30 years and say, oh, when they've had the first group championships, who won? And they'll say Tom's River North was the best public school team in the state that year and the first shore conference team to ever go 14-0. So regardless of what happens in the coming years, they can never take that away from you. I mean, you're talking, a legendary team that will be celebrated by that school for decades to come. They'll be having reunions. You'll be out there at halftime. The players now will be coming out with their kids in 20 years, getting honored, for being 14-0. So that's the type of thing that's at stake, is immortality.
People were asking me, are you getting Coach Oz or Coach Schulte on to do for your, before their game? And I said, I don't want to do anything that's going to jinx them, because I don't want them to be like, this is a jinx. God forbid something happens. I let them go. We are not going to have anybody in our show. Do your thing. We'll talk to you afterwards. But there's, that, because I don't want to be the Shore Football Report to be blaming for a fumble or whatever. It was the darn
interview. I think, if anything, those guys are just so focused. They're probably like, I don't have time for that right now. I'm watching film like around the clock.
Yeah.
We're practicing. Like, there's no time to even be distracted by that. It's all or nothing now. And it's history. It's New Jersey history. It's not just Shore Conference history.
What kind of crowd do you think will be
the first
there?
Team to be a group?
What kind of crowd do you think will be there?
See, this is where I'm very curious, right? Because that was a big argument for years of doing these group finals. Hey, it's going to be a huge crowd because everyone's going to show up, and because they finally want to see, these North Jersey facing off against the Central and South Jersey champ. Like, we finally got it. The only thing that scares me is if it's bad weather, if it's freezing or something like that. And we're in the era of the live stream where people can just watch it on their phone from the comfort of their toasty living room. So I wonder sometimes whether that kills attendance, because people that might have thought about going are like, oh, well, I'll just watch it on the phone. Like, I don't need to drive all the way up there, but I do hope that those are two really big schools, obviously. So I'm hoping that, the busloads of people are going in there, and that Rutgers is really rocking, because that was also part of the argument, was that, this is an event everyone's going to want to see if we finally hold it. So we're going to find out.
I don't like having it in these big venues, because it doesn't seem like a lot of people are even at the games, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I liked for years when they were doing it at TCNJ and Kane, because the stands are smaller. It's not some cavernous Big Ten football stadium.
Correct.
I know the kids love that experience of being at the stadium, but the games that I remember covering at TCNJ and at Kane, it got loud because the stands were like full and they were like rocking. So I kind of like that smaller venue, because it feels like, hey, it's sold out. The stands are full. It's crazy. And whereas, even if 10,000 people show up at this game on Sunday, that's a fraction of what that stadium holds.
Yeah, and a lot of these players are now into their winter sports, 2 weeks into it, so they're not going to pick up and go. Some of these kids are now in winter season mode, so it's not like everybody's going to go there. It's going to be,
Well, but you think about it, in the past, on this weekend, this was when the sectional finals used to be held, so there were still state finals. People were making the trip. I just thought like this would be a bigger deal, because this is for overall New Jersey bragging rights, not just your section. And, this is for all the people all these years from their area talking trash to the North Jersey people, saying, the football you play down there isn't
even the media.
Well, now we're going to find out.
Even the media in North Jersey, the media in South Jersey, we got a lot of investment in both Tom's River North and Rumson. We want to toot our horn a little bit. So
absolutely. You want to say that, we play some of the best football in the state down here. So now you want to prove it.
We've been very fortunate. 3 state championship games we had Shore Conference teams in out of the 7. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Let's win them now. Let's win them.
That's the thing. Yeah, you don't want to just get there. You got to take at least one trophy home.
And listen, both Tom's River North and Rumson, if they don't win, it's going to sting, because they believe they're good enough to win the games. Both of them do. They really do. And that says a lot about their program. They're not in it just to, everything's gravy. I've never heard the word gravy at all from either one of those coaches or players. Both programs believe they will win their games.